Yeah, I was really interested in reading what Joe Montana said because he was talking about it from a schematic standpoint, the different things you have to learn if you go to a new team. But he was, to me, totally discounting the part of his career in Kansas City that I would think, for an all-time great athlete, was an absolute treat, which is he became a legend in Kansas City. I mean, to this day, like, people maybe outside of the city, people don't care, but it's another city where, I mean, I remember being a little kid and people being like, you know, Joe Montana's house is up there and they're giving out the full-size candy bars. Got the team to the AFC Championship game where they hadn't been in decades. When he posted the picture somewhere in his house, he's got a Chiefs memorabilia alongside his Niners memorabilia. So it was an extra nice chapter to his legacy. And so I was very interested to hear what he said. But when it comes to Brady, the problem for Tom is going to be this. They don't have the ability, practically, to give him everything he wants. When people talk about Tom going back to New England, they say, well, they will get him a tight end this year. They will fix the offensive line issues. They will add a weapon on the outside. And, oh, yeah, by the way, he wants a raise.
They'll pay him.
You can't do all of those things. And, Coach, you've talked a ton about how New England, historically, Belichick took a receiver in the first round for the first time since you guys were in Cleveland, right?
Yep.
So, okay, he took a running back in the first round for the first time in a decade the year before. Took a receiver in the first round, then traded a second-round pick for Mohamed Sanu. Do we think he's now going to quadruple down on skill position, high draft pick, or high free agent acquisition this offseason? I don't. So it would just be so out of his history. So I understand the argument of, well, if they fix all these things and give Brady this raise, then he should stay. But I don't think they're going to be able to or inclined to do all those things, which is why I think it does make sense for Tom to move on.
So San Francisco can make the jump from coaching in the Senior Bowl to being in the Super Bowl, but New England, who's 12-4, can't figure out a way to fix some of the issues that they've had. Like, to me, I think that's the wrong narrative. And one thing that Bill has shown consistently is his ability to adjust and to change and to adapt and to be ahead of the curve. And the advantage they have in New England is Josh McDaniels is coming back. Ideally, Dante Scarnecchia comes back. And for Tom, he can go somewhere else and maybe have a really successful few years. But his best chance for success is in New England right now because he's not worried about what the scheme is. He's not worried about how practice is going to work. He's not worried about where he's going to park and where he's going to live and all those things that we take for granted that he will have to learn again if he goes somewhere else. His best opportunity to just jump back in, compete at a high level, and possibly win a Super Bowl is in New England with that group.
Yeah, I'm with Coach on this one. The first thing is in terms of Joe Montana. The most enjoyable part of you and I host national radio shows, right, is you get to talk with you. I'll never forget having a conversation with Joe Montana where he, to this day, is still ticked off that the Niners shunned him and gave what he believes is his 5th Super Bowl to Steve Young.
Sure.
So while you were experiencing, Kansas City was experiencing, we got Joe Montana. He's still ticked because he figures I should have had a 5th ring staying in San Francisco. And I don't think that's what New England would have if Brady left, right? They would have to start over, maybe go Andy Dalton and press pause for a year. But you're never going to recreate what he has. And Coach pointed out they're 12-4. And you can say they missed on N'Keal Harry, right? But they had Antonio Brown, they had Josh Gordon, they had to get rid of them both within like a week. They had good enough players. They just had 2 guys that were troubled off the football field that they had to get rid of. Those type of players will still be available. And I do think that the best, tell me a better place. Like the Raiders?
Listen,
wait, hold on. So, no. Hey, give me a better spot. The Raiders? The Chargers? I'm a Charger fan.
The Chargers.
Okay? The Chargers would be, that's like going to the Nets. That's going to the Mets. That's going to the second. Look, the Chargers are the 5th or 6th most respected and important NFL team in the city of Los Angeles. That's not on brand for Tom Brady.
What happens if you get Tom Brady, though? I mean, the idea that you don't totally remake what you are, at least temporarily, if you get the most famous, beloved, and accomplished player in the history of your sport, you do. What were the Clippers before Kawhi got there? Like, the idea that
this is not basketball. This is not basketball.
No, I understand, but
it's not. You have a guy who's worked hand in hand with Josh McDaniels. The L.A. Chargers have a first-time play caller who got the job mid-season. He's going to work with Tom Brady and install his complex offense that brilliant wide receivers like Mohamed Sanu can't pick up on the fly. That ain't going to work, dude. And, by the way, it ain't on brand to go to the second team in L.A. The Raiders are more popular. The Niners are more popular. Everybody's more popular than the Chargers. That would just be to sell seats, not to win games, and he's about winning games.
And one of the biggest mistakes that you can make with a great player or a great quarterback like that is to bring him in and try to force him to do something he's not as good at. Your best opportunity is to adjust your system to them so that they can perform at their peak level. And there's a little bit of time that goes into it. We saw it with Aaron Rodgers and Matt LaFleur trying to figure out where they fit together. And Tom doesn't have that kind of time. If he's going to be successful, he needs to go into some place where they're running his system. And there's not that many places like that.
No, you guys make really good points. Let me just check real quick. Oh, no, look at that. He still hasn't re-signed. So the owner wants him back. He'd be a fool to go anywhere else. The Patriots have said we need the
So why hasn't he
reportedly.
resigned yet?
Can you check your phone? What's the date?
What the date is? What I don't know the date. January 24th.
Oh, okay.
Something like January 28th. I'm 4 days behind.
Okay, so I mean,
Well,
we
I'm
haven't
just
even
curious.
finished the season officially.
No.
But Tom Brady hasn't signed, so he must be leaving.
It's called negotiation.
So what's he negotiating for?
He wants more guaranteed years. Clearly more money. This
Okay.
is about money.
Okay.
This is about money. That's all
about
it's about.
money and respect. And the team, when he was coming off his 6th Super Bowl championship, 1 year removed from his 3rd league MVP, they refused to give him money, respect, or years. And now all of a sudden, when he's moved, when his house is for sale, when the owner has said, we want you back, and Brady has just put out cryptic Instagram posts, for one reason or another, he seems to be seriously contemplating dealing with all the upheaval, dealing with all the change.
In every negotiation, if you're not legitimately willing to walk away, it's not really a negotiation.
You're correct. This is, and this happens in our business, this is clearing out my office. I don't know how this is going to go. I'm going to clear out my office just in case it goes the other way. Tom Brady's not playing for the Chargers. He's not going to end Johnny Unitas style in a Chargers uniform. He's not going to end up like O.J. Simpson in a 49er
he's
uniform.
Not Johnny Unitas or Joe Namath or Joe Montana or Michael Jordan. All-time great athletes would never end their career in a place we never could imagine them ending it, except more often than not, they absolutely do.
And Joe Montana told him, don't do it.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from First Things First, or go watch a few segments from our other shows on FS1.